Hey everyone, welcome to Dark Helmet Racing League Season 6, Round 7. We're at Silverstone. It rained, but it did dry in the feature, and we had to do wet to dry on tires because it actually needed to go dries for the pace. Had a couple guys try to hold out till the very end, but everyone ended up switching over to dries as the race went on there, and it was a blast. But because it's wet, we might have a few things to go through, so let's get into it. Alright, this is our first one. Charging in with a bit too much entry speed. There's more of an incident that happens behind us, so I'll watch that in a second, but yeah, just using the Porsche as a berm. But it's wet, and it was minor contact. Pull up our rules. Alright. Turn into apex. Driver being passed fails to leave one car with the track edge. That wasn't what happened. It doesn't necessarily fit all the standard items for leaving width and stuff like that, but only minor damage, but maintains position due to contact, or the passing driver is forced off track. Hmm. Yeah, this one's a little tough to exactly nail down in our rules. But with it being wet, and it didn't actually spin the driver, the other driver wasn't forced off track. The contact was enough to push the other driver into another situation here. So I'm just going to do this one minor for fish on. Okay. Now, for the other incident, is with Brandon here. Now, Brandon in the Discord has already tried to take fault for this, but with the incident happening ahead in front, pushing Christian out wide, Christian's now trying to take the kind of classic wet line here to try to get to the outside for the next corner. So he kind of comes right across. Oops. Down there. And Brandon, I don't necessarily see this as fault for Brandon. Let's go look at it from onboard cockpit for Brandon. Okay, so that's why he feels. But when we go look at far chase here, and if we were just to throw the racing line on, which the racing line is not going to do anything other than just be a reference here. Because the reason why I put the racing line on is that's going to be the slippy spot right now. So Brandon's on full slippy spot. He's seen this kind of develop in front of him. And he's... It's hard to tell, because it's almost... It's not a rejoin, but it's... Yeah. Let's just do a minor for Brandon. It's not going to be a 2.5. Makes this one not noted. But let's watch Christian here. He gets forced wide there. Contact there. He spins. Just watch his brake lights. Be hard to tell because of the spin. It's hard to... Oh, they're on. The they weren't on until he started coming back on track. Might not even know where he was, so let's just go look on his onboard. yeah, I'm not gonna fault him for there's no way to really know where you are in the reference points of this. Like, feels like he's completely off track from his point of view until you can see far left that he's on the track. So, just noted for the contact there. And then I stacked into the back of Rob, I believe. Racing incident with the both of us, trying to avoid Christian there. Now, I would like to blame Morgan for spinning and distracting me because came up with my relative that he was spinning, and so I followed him because I saw the headlights as I went into Beckett's here, and then saw that he was following down the relative, so I thought I was gonna get ahead of something, and I spun. Morgan has another spin. Paved runoff for the win. And Morgan entered right across the line, but let's just see what this is. Apparently there's a wall there. So our rule is, you can crash after the finish as long as you don't take anybody with you. He's going as far to the other side as possible, but wow, that invisible wall is impressive. All right, on to the feature. That's not the one I'm looking for. That's the one I'm looking for. Few people try to go slicks for the feature, and it just didn't work out. And one of those was Ryan, I believe, who was part of this. So let's see what's going on here. We'll leave the racing line on because it's helpful right now. Okay. So this incident did happen earlier today. For anybody that was watching anything else that was on the TV, I'm not going to spoil anything. This is a very similar incident to other things. My viewpoint here is Ryan wouldn't have been aware so much of his existence, other than getting called at a car outside. Ryan's kind of struggling on slicks here. We have to take that into account a little bit. Did Ryan squeeze him off track? No. Was contact made? Yes. Did Eric put himself in a bit of a dangerous spot. Sure, passing on the outside. Because on our rules, if you're not beside by apex, we say apex to exit. Drivers with overlap at apex will be required to maintain control and leave one car with on exit, which did happen. Cars initiating the overlap on corner exit will not be subject to the overlap passing rules and is doing so at their own risk. So here, it's on the car on the outside to kind of leave as much room as possible. The car on the inside kind of runs wide, but it's a racing incident. That's all this is. Ryan trying to make these slicks work, and it's just not doing it. I debated all the way up to 5 seconds to go on grid if I was going to do this. And it was a hard decision. So the McLaren up here is also on slicks. So they're struggling. And there's nothing there on that one either. Smooth. Less smooth. Yeah, there's nothing fully here. If you look at how everyone else is exiting the corner, most are staying inside. The first car past this is me. I actually just got spooked and was running wide, following Morgan into his spin. So that's why I'm wide there. Brandon's more on the normal line. So we see that patch there. And then you've got Thomas going through there. He stays wide of that patch. And then I think this is Mooney coming through. He's right on the edge of that patch too. So that's the normal line. I'm not going to do anything with the rejoin. No action. Just got caught on the wet bit. Then he towed. I think that was just as the tires were starting to work for him too. I almost did exactly the same thing. I was wondering how I got ahead of Ryan. That explains it. He's lucky he didn't get hit with a improper pit exit penalty. And then it looks like he has another little spin here. These tires are so hard to get lit up. Ryan was flying tonight. Ooh, Phil had a huge moment. Well, not in the lead at this point, but he was pushing hard. Oh. That one's a weird one. Let's go look at... Christian was coming out of the pits, okay. And Thomas just lost it at the unfortunate wrong time. That would have been scary on in-car. That would have just appeared. Racing incident between these two. John. Eric. Ooh, big hit. Racing. And that's it. So, few things tonight, but nothing really major. Pretty much everything was in the light side. So, yeah, we got 3 penalties, I think, tonight. Just double check I got them all logged. What did I do? What was the feature? That's no, that was a sprint. Okay. So both were in the sprint, so we were no incidents of any action in the feature. Everything was a racing incident. Cool. So that's it for tonight. See you at the next round, which I believe is at Nürburgring, the GP circuit. Let's just double check. Yep. EBES WEC configuration